Shovel Knight is a classic action-adventure game series with awesome gameplay, memorable characters, and an 8-bit retro aesthetic. Become Shovel Knight, wielder of the shovel blade, as he runs, jumps, and battles in a quest for his lost beloved. Take down the nefarious Knights of the Order of No Quarter and their menacing leader, the Enchantress. Shovel Knight is one of the best indie games in the last few years. If you played these classic Nintendo games back in the day and are looking for that feeling again, you just found it. Shovel Knight is one game pretty much any gamer should not miss out on. This game is a beautiful tribute to the era that used to be. With its graphics and gameplay, it refers to 8-bit games, but it does have a unique touch of its own. It might be a bit short, but it sure has a strong personality. You can describe Shovel Knight in one word: masterpiece. Overall, this game has an addictive gameplay. Broforce is a ridiculously violent platform game about being awesome action heroes from the 80s and 90s, while slaying satanic terrorists and aliens, while unraveling an evil plot to destroy the planet, while dealing with being awesome action heroes from the 80s and 90s. A great game wrapped in every action movie ever. It's an homage to the Metal Slug era, and it's incredibly well done. Best enjoyed with friends and some beers. Carving your way through a level in Broforce is chock full of muscle-flexing carnage, and it's brilliant for it as explosions rock the screen, and you tear through the scenery. Though inventive, some of the boss fights halt that fun, and the way co-op deals with lives is too unforgiving, but it's always throwing out something new, whether it's a different-looking environment to blow up, a new type of enemy to blow up, or another new bro to add to the team and blow things up with. Broforce sets a new standard for 2D action shooters. It is an intense love letter to old action movies, and an action game with style. Enter the Gungeon is a bullet-hell dungeon crawler following a band of misfits seeking to shoot, loot, dodge, roll, and table flip their way to personal absolution by reaching the legendary Gungeon's ultimate treasure, the gun that can kill the past. It is a wonderful mix of intricate difficulty and vast silliness rolled into one. Any fan of roguelikes or bullet hell games will find a lot to do, and completists will be running around the Gungeon for months to come. Enter the Gungeon is a wonderful, demanding yet rewarding roguelike twin-stick shooter, where the visuals marry perfectly with the gameplay to deliver one of the most addictive experiences in recent memory. This game is an exhilarating experience, but the difficulty often comes from the game refusing to provide you the necessary tools, which offers its own unique challenges. In short, it's good. You should buy it if you're up for a challenge, as this game is more challenging than most other games.
Into the Gungeon.
Katana Zero is on the short side, but it uses every minute of its 5 to 6 hour runtime well, packed to the brim with satisfying carnage and a brain-bending narrative. Stylish action and surprisingly deep storytelling are the two main pillars of an extraordinary action game. It's fun, smart, and challenging in the best way possible. This game is a real success. A cryptic scenario well brought on, very fine gameplay, generous without being frustrating, the visuals are delightful, the soundtrack is funny, and everything is majestically orchestrated. It is difficult to blame anything after the baby of a Skyset, maybe a lack of a time attack mode that would match perfectly with the genre. Katana Zero is an intense and challenging arcade action embedded in a great story. It is a fantastic 2D action game, it's a great stealth game, and it has an interesting story and universe. The action is fast, fluid, and will have you coming back for more over and over again. But this is just a taste of what could be. Streets of Rogue offers a high-speed experience that's got plenty of variables and options that keep things interesting and fun. I wouldn't go so far as saying this is a game for everyone, since the combat-heavy experience does lend itself to certain playstyles over others, but it's fun and easy to pick up and play for a bit. Fight, sneak, and hack your way through randomly generated cities. It's like Nuclear Throne meets Deus Ex, mixed with the anarchy of GTA. Roguelite meets immersive sim, and goes completely insane. Sticking points aside, Streets of Rogue is absolutely worth playing, and once you start, it's hard to stop. It gives you more freedom than almost any roguelike, and its varied cast of characters, combined with the randomness of traits and mutators, mean no two runs play out the same way. Streets of Rogue is a small and cheerful antidote to the relatively plain-faced immersive sims of the blockbuster sort. It's a daft miscellany of violent mobsters and unseen assassins, crisscrossing feuds and small mistakes that snowball into bloody knife fights. If you want a tiny, varied Deus Ex that will make you laugh, this is it. Celeste is a beautiful pixel art game where you help Madeline survive her journey to the top of Celeste Mountain in the super tight, handcrafted platformer from the creators of Towerfall. Celeste's optimism is refreshing, especially since it comes from within. It's a call and response, a game that says keep going. And waits for your next button presses confirmation, I will. You're learning. And with every death, every obstacle stumbled against and overcome, you say I am. It's a marriage of theme and mechanics so pure, so confident. And one hell of a platformer, too. Celeste is special because not only does it serve up a delight in precise platforming and environmental puzzle solving, it also tells an emotional story of a girl trying to overcome her depression. While there are times where it feels like the mountain drains you of your will, it's important to never stop pushing. Celeste is an expertly designed, tough-as-nails platformer that rarely stumbles on its march to the summit. Hyper Light Drifter is a breathtaking game that draws heavily from gaming's most prominent pioneers, without relying too heavily on their influence. It is an eclectic masterpiece that feels more like an experience than a video game. Explore a beautiful, vast and ruined world riddled with unknown dangers and lost technologies. Inspired by nightmares and dreams alike. Hyper Light Drifter is a 2D action RPG in the vein of the best 8-bit and 16-bit classics, with modernized mechanics and designs on a much grander scale. A beautiful and challenging game with a fun and engaging combat system and a world worth exploring, even if doing so could be a bit frustrating. This game is a masterpiece with an impressive mixture of style and gameplay. Hyper Light Drifter is one of the best action game in pixel look and showcases a complex and enchanting pixel art. It brings you into a silent and distant world. It tests your ability with a deep and fast-paced gameplay. It's the rightful heir of 90s bidimensional adventures. Dead Cells is a roguelite and action games where you will explore a sprawling, ever-changing castle, assuming you're able to fight your way past its keepers in 2D Souls-like combat with no checkpoints. Dead Cells is rewarding in its flexibility in a way few games are. Each easily digestible run through its beautifully detailed and shifting levels instills a feeling of discovery and familiarity. It goads you to push the limits of your ability and mercilessly crushes you when you get too comfortable. There are layers of strategy and tactics varied not only in the immediate choices you make, but in the grander metagame each run builds toward. Dead Cells is an adrenaline duty for every player. It gets you not only with a beautifully crafted dark world and countless weapons, but mostly with elaborated gameplay. A beautiful, challenging game that is supremely polished in every area. A fantastic blend of tactical combat mixed with Metroidvania-style progression, combined with an interesting and very quirky setting, makes it a compelling package. Overall, it is a stellar action platformer with gorgeous presentation and excellent combat. Punishing but worth it. It smashes some of the best concepts of recent years into something new, brutal, and beautiful. Terraria looks a little intimidating from the outside. That's an affliction we all deal with when you consider playing a legacy product, with many patches and updates and an international fanbase so deeply ingrained in their own culture that they might as well be speaking a different language. Overall though, it's impressive how good Terraria feels, all these years later. It shifts between dungeon crawling, resource gathering, base building, and firefights with ease. The combat is simple and satisfying, and there's a real joy to equipping yourself with heavy artillery after spending far too long with a copper broadsword. It also packs one of the most impressive physics engines you'll ever find. Sand and silt billows and accumulates in realistic ways. Water and lava slowly fill empty spaces once you've sprung a leak. Arrows and shurikens are tugged to the earth by gravity. It lets you solve problems without resorting to video game logic. I can't think of many other 2D games that let me save my skin by opening the door of a flooded house. Terraria can truly be whatever you make of it. You can download a checklist that will fast-track you through all the optimal crafting paths or boss strategies. Or you can simply get lost in the transcendental meditation of digging and finding cool stuff and doing more digging. Kill the brain of Cthulhu with a revolver, or find a nice bookcase and proudly mount it on the second floor of your apartment. Whatever it is, Terraria will find you. Stardew Valley is a beautiful, fun game that when all of its parts are pulled together, make for a wonderful countryside adventure. Whether it's rainy, sunny, snowy, or dusted with pollen drifts through the air, each day offers an abundance of great activities ready to be collected or mastered, and new friendships waiting to be made. Even after 100 hours, you still feel like you have so many mysteries to discover and plenty of items to collect. New items, goals, and events from all the updates since its launch make Stardew Valley more welcoming for new players and extends its life for seasoned farmers, too. The fantastic multiplayer is just the cherry on top of the cake to this marvelous farming RPG. On the surface, Stardew Valley is a game about farming, but there are more adventures awaiting curious players beyond cultivating a rich and bountiful garden. From mining and fishing to making friends and falling in love, Stardew Valley's Pelican Town is stuffed with rewarding opportunities. As modern-day woes give way to pressing matters on the farm and within your newfound community, Stardew Valley's meditative activities often led to personal reflection in the real world. It's a game that tugs at your curiosity as often as it does your heart. The sheer number of things to accomplish in Stardew Valley can keep you interested beyond the original 3 in-game years you need to reach the end of your story. You may just want to start over rather than continue on. You'll work quite hard to gather enough money for your first horse so that you can quickly move to the mines to get a mineral to complete a bundle at the community center. It's all centered around whatever it is you want to accomplish that day. And that's truly what makes Stardew Valley such a lovely experience. It encourages you to go out and be the best you can be in whichever task that brings you the most joy.